today is planning and forecasting. This lecture is being taken for future online classes that we teach here at CSUN. Planning and forecasting. There are four functions to any type of management. You start, and the primary function is planning and forecasting. Then after that is organizing, then leading, and controlling. And planning is the key for companies, and they do a very poor job sometimes of planning. Any of you can give me a good example of what planning is? Because your research assignment 1, you're going to be looking at companies' mission, vision, and their strategic planning. Companies do sometimes some innovative companies do a good job. Like this morning, I was reading an article on Walmart, which is one of the innovative companies of future, and they have this strategic planning, what's called Project Impact. I don't know if any of you read that or not. Project Impact is what Walmart is doing now to overtake even the other companies that are in the market. What they're trying to do is to improve their strategic planning in their superstores. They're making it more user-friendly, customer-friendly, and they already have overtaken into toys. So this is an example of good planning, strategic planning. And Walmart was traditionally what type of company? So mainly into low price, their mission and vision. These are all part of, because your research assignment 1, you have to come up, look at company mission and vision, and figure out, how they meet the customer expectation. So, and companies change throughout a period of time. Recession was an opportunity for companies to rechange their planning. And part of planning is good forecasting. Company some do a good job, some do a poor job. Circuit City went out of business mainly because they did a very poor job with forecasting. They spent too much time on plasma TV that wanted it. And plasma was one of those kind of TV that was going out of style. And they spent too much inventory on plasma TV, and they didn't take the threat from Best Buy. Best Buy had a better business plan. Maybe in planning, you're looking at coming up with objective and achieving those objectives. Now, objective of companies, and we have to understand the difference between objective and goals. There are key terms that you have to understand about management. There are goals, mission, vision, and objectives, and strategy. These are some key terms. So, if any of you can tell me what is the difference between a goal and objective? Any of you? Well, you ask you last week, to look at and read, It's bad, you're on video, and so it's going to be affecting you now, Any of you give me a good example of difference between objective, goal, and planning process?
Objective would be something that we actually go for. It's something that is set at the very end that we have to actually target, and we have to actually go for it and work and plan the whole way. But the goal itself, I think it's kind of the steps that you accomplish along the way to meet your objective eventually at the end of the road.
Maybe objective is a long-term goal.
Objective, long-term goal.
And short-term goals are depending on each process in a company, which it's set on just like next step. Next step is the goal, but next step isn't the objective. Objective is the final goal of the company.
Objective and goals, mission and visions, they're kind of interchanged, and the definition of them are so close that most people sometimes confuse them. But mainly Each company has some goals. To meet those goals, we have to have a set of objectives. Comes to making decision, process of planning always involve decision process. Those companies that do a good planning and do a systematic approach to planning, they do a good job. An example is poor planning. U.S. manufacturing, automotive. For years, they didn't take their quality so seriously. And what happened? Most of the time, companies that are lagging behind are the ones that they wait till trouble happens, then they go through process of decision making to remedy that. When the roof comes down, it's too late for you to go say, oh, why did the roof come down? And it's too late. And some companies do that. U.S. automotive, for years, they didn't take the quality seriously. And when they started to change, that was when Japanese auto manufacturing took the lead. The quality, they implemented the quality, and U.S., they kept losing shares, market shares. So at that time, they said, we need to have a better strategic planning to meet the customer expectation, which comes like your research assignment 1. Those companies' mission and vision meet customer expectation. Again, what is problem to be solved? Companies always have to look at problem and their objective, their goal. And maybe all companies are in business because of customer, because of the clients. And you have to always take that into account when you're looking at the company, when you're studying the company. As I said, there are some good examples, there are some very bad examples of poor goal and objective for company. But maybe goals are like, for example, Walmart wants to right now to be the leading store even in toys. Walmart traditionally wasn't into market to take over toys companies. Now it has taken over all 4 major toy companies except Toys R Us. That's the last one, they're trying to overtake with this new change in their strategic planning. So mainly goals is where you want to be, and objectives are steps. Objectives are that you take to reach that goal. Then you have to have some identifying planning. You have to have some success criteria. What are some success criteria that companies can use to decide if their planning was good or not? One example of success criteria, because in your research assignment, you really need to get into depth and analyze this thing. By the way, all the research you do, 80% of your grade is based on what you get from other sources. The other 20% is your analysis, your input, and your understanding of the topic. So what are some success criteria that companies use to understand that
the testing which they are using before application of their product, just like example you gave right now, SWOT analysis. So a company who is doing a perfect SWOT analysis would be a better company, because then it knows its pros and cons, and its people who are giving good competition to them and everything. Means they'll know the in and out of the product and whatever they are manufacturing or whatever industry they are in. So a company which has to be successful need to have a good SWOT analysis.
That's good. That's a good point. Also, another good example for success criteria very simply is
increasing the bottom line and the customer base.
Is market share. Maybe if a company is sales forecast and market share, if they take more market share, and sometimes I say they do a good job in the strategic planning, and sometimes they do a good job, like Hewlett Packard. I don't know if any of you had Compaq. Have you ever had a Compaq laptop? First laptop I had was a Compaq. And it just lasted a year. Right after the warranty was over, it just broke down. And Compaq for years has been associated, talking about vision, mission of the companies. And most people that buy a product, they look at and see if the mission and vision of the company meet the expectation. Most companies have good mission and vision. They all want to, vision of companies are always they want to be the leading. But do they meet the expectation? Compaq didn't. Compaq for years was associated. If you thought about Compaq, what do you think? Low quality, low